That Petrol Emotion. That Petrol Emotion were an Irish, London-based band with a North American vocalist, Steve Mack. It featured two former members of celebrated Derry pop punk. They recorded 5 albums between 1986 and 1994, exploring an eclectic fusion of alternative rock, post-punk, garage rock, and dance music, including sampling which in part anticipated and overlapped with the dance pop era of the 1990s. Following a 14-year break, the band reunited in 2008 for various dates, tours, and festival appearances before returning to hiatus in 2010. 4 members of the band went on to form the everlasting career, formation, and debut single. Following the split of the Undertones, John O'Neill, the band's former guitarist and principal songwriter, returned to his hometown of Derry and teamed up with friend and fellow guitarist Raymond Gorman x Bam Bam and The Calling and Mickey Rooney to DJ together at Derry's. Inspired by the records they were playing, the two formed first a new songwriting project and then a new band, playing a couple of gigs with a drum machine and Gorman's then-girlfriend as singer. Another friend, drummer Kieran McLaughlin, formerly with the Corner Boys, but who had also played a few Undertones gigs covering for an absent Billy Doherty, was the next member to join. In autumn 1984, the nascent That Petrol Emotion relocated to London, where the existing 3 members were joined by John's brother and former Undertones lead guitarist Damien O'Neill, who not only agreed to switch to bass guitar, but turned down an invitation to join Dex's Midnight Runners in order to work with TPE. Charismatic Seattle-born American singer Steve Mack, at the time on a year out from his studies and working in a pizzeria in London, completed the lineup. In 2020, comedian Paul Whitehouse revealed that he had unsuccessfully auditioned for the band during this period. That Petrol Emotion's influences encompassed artists as diverse as the Beatles, Africa Bambaataa, Television, Sly and the Family Stone, Captain Beefheart, and Can. Following some initial interest from Creation Records, they released their debut single Keen on Pink Records in July 1985. The sound of the new band severed overt musical links with the Undertones due to its darker, more edgy sound. That Petrol Emotion were also far more political and outspoken. O'Gorman would later describe the band as having been like the Undertones after discovering drugs, literature, and politics, with a lot more girls in the audience dancing. As with the Undertones, John O'Neill emerged as principal songwriter, although songwriting contributions were made by all group members. Manic Pop Thrill and Babble. Following a busy period gigging in small venues and becoming ridiculously popular on the pub circuit, plus the release of a second single in September 1985, V2, which the band put out on their own temporary Noisy Noise label, That Petrol Emotion signed a deal with Demon Records. Their debut album, Manic Pop Thrill, released in 1986, charted at #1 in the UK indie chart. It was received with rave reviews from the critics, especially by Undertones champion John Peel. They were described by Rolling Stone magazine as the Clash crossed with Creedence, and the New York Times described them in 1987 as a youthful Rolling Stones crossed with a revved-up Television. The band's second album and major label debut, Babble, released in 1987 on Polydor Records, broke into the UK Albums Chart and won universal acclaim, being voted as one of the albums of the year by Rolling Stone magazine critics and receiving an A grade from Robert Christgau. In the UK, the single Big Decision was released in 1987, which charted at number 42. This would be the band's highest chart position for a single release. Demonstrating an intensification of the band's political stance, the back sleeve of Big Decision had contained text criticizing the Deplock courts in Northern Ireland and their potential ability to convict on false or forced confessions. 27 years later, Raymond O'Gorman would comment with regard to the politics, and having grown up with Protestants, my thing was always to go back to civil rights. to make people understand that the only reason the IRA were in existence in the first place was due to the intransigence of the British and the Unionists. The whole situation in Northern Ireland is. O'Gorman has pointed out there was no need for any reference to Adams' cost. The quote was from Liam Mellows, but I think it had been left to our tour manager to sort out the sleeve, and without thinking he included a reference to Adams' book. It will haunt us forever, that one. Pretty poor excuse all the same to ban us / the single. Pathetic, really. However, no one knew we were banned as they did. However, the band's failure to gain further hit singles led to problems with Polydor when the latter's management changed in this period. Following demands made to the band to deliver immediate hit singles, that Petrol Emotion exploited a loophole in their contract and left Polydor, only to be snapped up within a few weeks by Virgin Records. Lineup shuffle, end of the Millennium Psychosis Blues and Chemicrazy. On the eve of the recording sessions for the third That Petrol Emotion album, End of the Millennium Psychosis Blues, John O'Neill announced his imminent departure from the band. Although he stayed to record the album, the sessions were fraught with tension and foreboding. O'Gorman has recalled it was a complete bombshell. When I look back now, we should have thrown him out there and then, and got on with the new recording ourselves. Instead, we meekly accepted everything, and he hung around for another 3 or 4 months. It was a toxic situation. Upon release in 1988, End of the Millennium Psychosis Blues was greeted with confusion. It was meant to emulate the eclectic mixtapes the band listened to and loved on their tour bus, but this dance and sample experimentation groove check. Here it is. Take it. Tension mixed with heavy alt. Rock under the sky, Celtic ballads, cellophane, and indie sooner or later. Every little bit proved too disjointed and diverse to break into the mainstream at the time. However, the album has been reappraised, with many critics and fans admitting that, while this diversity in style did alienate people on the contemporary scene, that Petrol Emotion were very much before their time and were even trailblazers for the Britpop and Manchester indie dance scene thanks to their early experiments mixing up indie rock with funk and dance. Having completed tour dates to promote the album, John O'Neill left That Petrol Emotion in October 1988. Following his departure, a reshuffle took place in the band. Drummer Kieran McLaughlin and guitarist Raymond Gorman picked up major songwriting duties, blossoming as writers in the process, whilst John Marchini, who had covered on guitar for an ailing Gorman on some of the tour dates, joined. This new dynamic of musicians and songsmiths led to the 1990 album Chemicrazy, produced by Scott Litt. Working with Litt, the band developed a more alt-rock style than before, as hinted at on the final track of the previous album, Under the Sky. Although the album's songs were more intense than previous work, Chemicrazy also maintained a pure pop heart, exemplified by singles Sensitize, Tingle, and Hey Venus, the former track sounding particularly R.E.M.-esque. Frustratingly for the band, however, the massive predicted sales for Chemicrazy never happened. The album stalled at UK number 62, and its disappointing performance led to the end of the band's contract with Virgin Records. Independence, Fireproof, and Split. After being dropped by Virgin, That Petrol Emotion also parted company. With bassist John Marchini, he was replaced by Belfast-born Brendan Kelly and set up their own record label, Cougat. Kelly's playing pushed That Petrol Emotion towards their heaviest, most riff-laden album to date, Fireproof, released in 1993, which, like their debut, reached number 1 in the UK indie chart. However, despite the generally positive press coverage and the loyal fan base they had garnered over 10 years and 5 full-length albums, That Petrol Emotion were failing to attain the level of sustained commercial success or popularity enjoyed by contemporaries such as My Bloody Valentine and Sonic Youth. As a result, the band split amicably in 1994. A documentary of That Petrol Emotion's farewell concerts in London and Dublin was released posthumously in 2000 as Final Flame, Fire, Detonation, and Sublime Chaos. Following the band's breakup, drummer Kieran McLaughlin played jazz for a while before switching to guitar and returning to work as a solo singer-songwriter. Singer Steve Mack returned to Seattle, where he would later play bass with Seattle pop group Cantona and form Anodyne with fellow songwriter Harry Thurmond. An Anodyne album, Tensor, was released in 1998 using the project name Marfa Lights in Europe. Raymond Gorman, Brendan Kelly, and Damien O'Neill formed a new band called Wavewalkers in 1996, which played 6 shows in London, Derry, and Paris before splitting up. Gorman would later resurrect the name for a solo project. In 2000, Damien O'Neill released a 12-inch single, Higher Grace, on the Toys Factory label under the name of X Valdez, featuring arrangements by Xavier Jamox and vocals by Athena Constantine, and in 2001 signed to Alan McGee's post-creation label Pop Tones in order to release the experimental electronic album A Quiet Revolution. Former TP guitarist and songwriting mainstay John O'Neill had already formed the intermittently active Northern Irish trip hop band Rare in 1990, scoring a hit single in 1996 with Something Wild and releasing a lone album, People Freak, in 1998. In November 1999, the O'Neill brothers reunited in a reformed Undertones with a new lineup minus estranged original frontman Feargal Sharkey, which continues to perform and release records to this day. Reunion. On 26 March 2008, Steve Mack announced that Petrol Emotion were reforming in their fireproof lineup to play reunion concerts in the summer. In August 2008, the reunited band played London's The Boston Arms and Dundalk's Spirit Store, then went on to play at the Electric Picnic Festival in Stradbally, Ireland. In March 2009, the band played at the South by Southwest Festival in Austin, Texas. In the same month, their official site confirmed that Petrol Emotion would be playing the Hop Farm Festival in Kent, England in July 2009. Shortly afterwards, a UK tour also in July 2009. That Petrol Emotion continued their reformation with a spot at the My Bloody Valentine curated Nightmare Before Christmas All Tomorrow's Parties Festival in December 2009, followed by dates in the UK and the US. Hiatus 2010 present, and spin-off band The Everlasting Year 2012 present. Legacy. That Petrol Emotion's body of work remains critically acclaimed within the music press. It is widely agreed that, while never achieving chart success, the band left a lasting influence on the Britpop and Manchester movements, specifically on such artists such as the Stone Roses, Happy Mondays, Manic Street Preachers, Andrew Bird, Spoon Blur, and Radiohead. They were posthumously described as having perfected the art of the scuzzed-up alternative pop song during the 1980s. Discography. Singles. Keen. The Pink Label, July 1985. V2. Noisy Noise, September 1985. It's a Good Thing. A Good Thing, 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 Good Thing. Demon Records, April 1986. Natural Kind of Joy. Demon Records, August 1986. Big Decision. Polydor Records, April 1987. UK No. 43. Swamp. Womp. Polydor Records, July 1987. UK No. 64. Genius Move. Virgin Records, October 1987. UK No. 65. Cellophane. Virgin Records, September 1988. UK No. 98. Groove Check. Virgin Records, 1989. UK No. 95. Abandon. Virgin Records, March 1990. UK No. 73. Hey Venus. Virgin Records, September 1990. UK No. 49. US Modern Rock No. 9. Tingle. Virgin Records, February 1991. UK No. 49. Everybody's Goin' Triple Bad Acid Yet, / Big Decision. Slight Return. Clawfist Records, March 1991. Split single with the Membranes. Sensitize Virgin Records, April 1991, UK No. 55. Detonate My Dreams, Couget Records, 1993. Catch a Fire EP, Couget Records, 1993. Albums: Manic Pop Thrill Demon Records, May 1986, UK No. 84. Babel Polydor Records, May 1987, UK No. 30. End of the Millennium Psychosis Blues, Virgin Records, September 1988, UK No. 53. Chemicrazy Virgin Records, April 1990, UK No. 62. Fireproof Couget Records, 1993. Final Flame Fire, Detonation and Sublime Chaos Live, Sanctuary Records, 2000.